All right. Well, back to Leon Taylor's question.
Yes, back to Leon's tailoring.
I'm looking for your thoughts on the latest drivel that has come from the mind of Kenny Omega. His latest idea, according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Live, is to have an intergender division in AEW.
Oh.
Apparently, he and Riho defeated Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford on the Jericho Cruise. Do you guys think it could work? Or would TNT veto this for sure? Can Olivier convince Richie Rich to let this happen on his show? As I'm guessing Tony is a fan of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla style Carney BS. Who wouldn't want to see Riho versus Marco Stunt?
You know, I would like to see Riho versus Marco Stunt just to see if the fucking ring would fall in when they got... First of all, by the way, if Tony Khan is Richie Rich, then who is his butler Cadbury? We've got to figure that out. Secondly...
Alex Marvez.
Well, there you go. Oh, Cadbury. Here's the thing. I'm afraid that TNT might okay it because they'll think, oh, okay, well, it's all fake and phony and, you know, this is all bullshit anyway. So they might okay it. And I'm actually afraid they might do it because, here's more death of pro wrestling and just stupidity and idiocy on television. But yeah, I honest to God, after hearing that statement, I thought that there could be no human being more opposite me in every way on the face of this planet than Shitstain. But I'm beginning to believe it's Olivier. The fact that he would want to do that in a major company, that he would want to expose that kind of horseshit. If they gave him his way, he would probably be wrestling the fucking blow-up sex doll on TNT. I'm sure he'd do the fucking 9-year-old girl. But if they gave him his way, he'd probably do the sex doll. He's a fucking piece of shit. Now that he said that, I'm afraid they will do it because TNT won't care anything about what's good for the business of wrestling, and what's not insulting to the wrestling fans. They, the only thing that would stop them is the domestic violence thing. Which is there, but the thing that makes me madder about intergender wrestling than the domestic violence thing, because I don't think anybody uses a fucking butterfly suplex in domestic violence. It's just the offensiveness of it to the business of wrestling, and how insulting and offensive it is to wrestling and to people who actually like wrestling and don't want to see this fucking stupid horse shit, fake, phony silliness. But that's Olivier's mindset. And as we established on the show here, last week, he's almost 35. He's almost a 35-year-old man that's fixated on Japanese schoolgirls, video games, and wandering around in Japan like a fucking tourist with a backpack, where he supposedly attained his greatest stardom, but the video shows people walking by him like he's a fucking homeless man. So that's where he's at. Does he still live in his parents' basement? Has he ever had fucking sex? Is he one of these virgins that we hear of? What are the involuntarily virginate or whatever? Maybe that's why he's so frustrated. And he wants to wrestle small Japanese girls and fucking sex dolls. I don't fucking know. But it appears like if he said that out in public with no coercion involved, not somebody paying him to say it and he didn't want to say it, then first of all, fuck you, piece of shit. And secondly, I'm afraid they'll do it because they'll do everything else they can possibly to sodomize what's left of the wrestling business.
You know, at his very best, Kenny Omega is a very talented, athletic performer. I'll use the word performer and not wrestler. In this case. But every time this guy opens his mouth, he says something completely stupid that he's completely convinced of. And from the way he has booked himself in AEW to this guy should be nowhere near booking anything, anywhere, for anyone.
I'm glad you said that, and I concur wholeheartedly. And I just wish that, somebody asked me at the post office, by the way, Mike over at the post office. Mike and Lib were both talking about it. They said, I saw this new AEW wrestling. What's that about? And I had to tell him, I'd say, well, the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? He said, yeah. I said, the guy that owns them and Wembley Stadium and half the world has a son that's a big wrestling fan. And since they know the people at TNT because they do business with them in football, they opened a wrestling promotion. And he just looked at me with his mouth open because, it's like, so he just opened a wrestling promotion because his son is a big wrestling fan. I said, yes. How much money did that cost? I said, a lot. He said, they really did that. I said, yes. I said, actually, a few of the wrestlers got friendly with the guy and suddenly they're vice presidents of the company and making 5 times as much money as anybody else has ever paid them. There was that involved. And he's like, that really happens. I said, that happened.